Hi everyone, welcome back to Deported to Paradise. And I'm going to start off with the truth about living in paradise and why I stopped filming for a while. So, my name is Tanya. I got deported in 2023 and have been here since. I live in Nuevo Vallarta now. When I got here, I was in Puerto Vallarta. So, yeah, let's talk about why I stopped filming. And don't forget to comment, subscribe, like, and share. Okay, so everything was good, and then all of a sudden I started going through really bad depression again. It's really, really just, I just want it to stop, like, when is this going to end? But sometimes the depression is worse than other times, and this time was one of those instances. I didn't really talk to a lot of people, so I try and do it on my own, which I probably shouldn't, but I just don't want people to worry, so now I feel a lot better. I just made myself, do things, walk around the block. I read articles, read a book instead of just watching movies and documentaries about crime, because that's pretty much what I spend my time doing, and still taking my antidepressant. So when I first started taking that, it worked really, really well, and now it's kind of like, you know it's just not like it used to be. I stopped taking it for like 2 or 3 days when I ran out. I wouldn't think that would have anything to do with it, but yeah, it just seems different now. So okay, so that was that. I hope not to have to go through that again. But probably I will. But I just wanted to be over the depression part. So, but let's talk about me rebuilding my life. So when I first got here, I know I've told y'all that we, I did not have money, a job, transportation, any of that. So the only thing I did have was my mother, which she was a godsend. So I came down here with her, and between her and my extended family, she had gathered money for me to at least be able to start off and rent an apartment and get food and stuff. Like, I didn't get a TV for months, because I didn't, that was one of the last things that I needed. I was getting the important things first, which was the air conditioner, the refrigerator. That's basically it, except for the bed. So, so I started with that, and then as the time went on, I you know, got more things and built up my apartment or whatever. So, um, I got a job, which was the worst job in the world, but I got it. I went. I got paid, and my mom and I laugh about this now, but I think I spent more money on Ubers than I actually got paid, because it's funny now, but it wasn't back then. I could not make a full week. I could not work a full week because it was just so bad at the end. At first, my best friend Lisa was my manager, but they moved her to a different campaign. So then it was this guy. I'm not going to mention his name because he ended up passing away, but he was just, he was using, and it was just not a good thing. He was really, really bad off. So so that's where it came, that I just didn't want to go to work at all. He had a taser that he would just sit at his desk and just turn on and off. I mean, it was crazy. And when I tried to go to HR, you know, they didn't care. They didn't want to hear it. They weren't going to move me. They weren't going to fire him, like nothing. So it was just a really bad environment for me and really for everyone. But and now the company has closed down. So so I got that stuff first. Then I had to, of course, open up a new bank account, uh, which, well, first I had to get the voter's registration card, which is the main form of ID here. And that process was pretty simple. I just made an appointment online, and then since I've never lived in Mexico, I had to get two witnesses saying that I was who I am. So I got my neighbor and her mom went with us. It was a very quick appointment, and then I went back in like I think a week or two to actually pick up my ID. So, and then after that, after I had my ID, because I needed this for everything, I went to go open up a bank account, and and that was a little bit more difficult. The words when you're talking about bank and finance and all that stuff are just way more difficult than me or my mom knows. You know, my mom speaks really good Spanish, but when it comes to some of those big technical words, it's just goes right over our head. So, but I was able to open it up, you know, a checking account, and then come to find out that there's a limit on how much withdrawals you can have, not withdrawals, deposits that you can have in your account. Well, not deposit. There's a limit on how much money you can have there at one time. So, and it was at like 22,000 something like that pesos, which is about I don't know $1,000, a little over $1,000. So I had to go again to the bank and let them know that I wanted an unlimited, you know, amount that I could keep in the account. So, you know, and I had to go there. I couldn't do it over the phone, and not even that. It just really hard to communicate. You know, I tried and I was like, "Do you have an English, somebody that speaks English?" And they're like, "No." And I'm like, so I went. They helped me, but it was just a big, you know, anything here that you have to go do electricity or, you know, get your water turned on or anything really is like just a huge deal, you know. So, and my debit card, it expires in August, so that's going to be fun having to go to the bank to get an updated card. So, but that's, you know, those were kind of the first things that I needed to get work and start getting paid and things like that. So, one of the other things that was kind of difficult for me was the language. I mean, I have been bilingual since I was young. I didn't realize how bad my Spanish actually was till I moved here. I mean, I can speak if you're asking me to read something off of a, you know, of a script or something like that. I can read it, and, you know, and it sounds good and natural, you know, but when it comes to actually like speaking to somebody, I lose words. I You can tell that I'm not from here, you know. One time, oh my gosh, this was crazy. I was going to the place down the street where they sell rotisserie chicken, and I got on one of the little convoys, and it's about a 5 minute ride up there. Well, when you're about to get to your street where you want to be let out, you have to yell it. I mean, there's no like button like over there with the bus and stuff. You just have to yell it, you know, I want to stop there at Oxo or whatever. So the name of the chicken place is El Pechugon, which it just means chicken breast. So instead of me saying, you know, stop at Pechugon, I said stop at Peloton, which peloton in Mexico means a guy with big balls, pretty much. So I didn't realize I had said that. So, and but then everybody started like giggling, and um, some were turning red, and I was like, what happened? And the van driver was like, you said peloton, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, everybody. So I very rarely get embarrassed, but so that was them getting embarrassed, and I felt bad that they were embarrassed, but I was like, oh my gosh, I really need to watch what I say in Spanish, because people do get offended here. I mean, they just do. But I've gotten better. I've gotten a lot better. So, and then finding community has been very difficult for me. I, especially at my age, I don't like going out. I I just don't like to mingle with people, especially since I'm in a new country. It just feels hard. I've never been one that gets friends easily. So now it's like 10 times harder. Plus, I'm going through perimenopause. I mean, it's just not a good time for me to get new friends. So, but I need to get friends. So, and I do have a few, but very few. So I have decided I'm going to really, I made a list. I'm a sucker for lists. So I'm going to start volunteering somewhere, which I've tried to contact them, but they never would respond to me, which is like a lot of people out here. They don't they don't respond to you for whatever reason, but I'm going to try harder to volunteer, or I don't know, something. That way I can, meet new people and, you know, start my journey with an actual community, So, so that's kind of the first half of my rebuilding or whatever. During that time, something happened that kind of just stopped everything, where I couldn't continue to do anything really. I was barely able to work, but we'll talk about that next week. Yeah, thank you so much for watching Deported to Paradise. I'm Tanya, and please don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and share. Have a good week.